If you're just an ordinary cashier, would you dare to believe it when a billionaire stranger calls you daughter? The pale aqua neon lights of the supermarket cast cold streaks across the mottled gray tile floor, the glow flickering faintly with each hiss of the air conditioner. The barcode scanner's beep, beep, sounded like the metronome of a shift that would never end. The new plastic scent of the display shelves mingled with the cheap citrus cleaning fluid. At register number 6, Anna Parker straightened her faded apron, tucking her sweaty hair behind an ear. She hit total for the 117th time that day. Cut. In a gilded ballroom, violins swept through the air, honey-warm, golden. A crystal chandelier scattered pinpoints of light over champagne flutes. As the bow met the strings, a private elevator slid open behind the stage, revealing a quiet, walnut-paneled corridor, so hushed you could hear the tap of leather soles on marble. The Cole Hotel's logo glinted in silver like a sharp blade. Back at register number 6. Paper or cloth bag, ma'am? Paper. Anna passed over a stack of ramen, glancing at her cheap wristwatch. 10:11 p.m. 3 hours to go. The phone vibrated in her inner pocket, a hospital's automatic reminder, medication bill due this month. She shut the screen like extinguishing a spark. In her mind flashed an image of her mother in the hospital bed, her smile as fragile as tissue. One more week, Anna. Just one more. Rain pounded against the tin roof outside. A draft slipped in through the automatic doors, making her shiver. The checkout line had thinned. Near the drinks aisle, a sharply tailored man in a black suit stopped by the liquor shelf. The jacket was crisp enough that the lapels didn't wrinkle. His wristwatch peeked out slim cold, the second hand never quite touching time. He selected a rare single malt scotch and wheeled it to Anna's register. The neon lights danced across his face, casting it half in shadow, half in still water. Your total, Anna asked, calm. Just this, he said, softly, not harshly, but with something that made you sit straight. She scanned the item. Beep. Beep. The display blinked, the total higher than she expected. He produced an unmarked black card. When she held it, the leather felt ice cold, like touching a shard of ice. Please sign, he said. He wrote quickly, decisively, like someone used to acting at the speed of markets. Meanwhile, in the gilded ballroom just a few blocks away, the MC raised his glass and announced the main sponsor, Richard Cole. A camera swept over the sea of well-wishers, diplomats, scientists, graduates donning caps and gowns. On the fringes of the projected image, a grainy black-and-white photo flickered a young woman's bright smile passing by almost like a deliberate montage glitch. Outside, a cold wind breached the front doors. Anna rubbed her wrist. The man slipped the liquor into a shopping bag. As he turned toward the exit, something soft dropped, tapping against the rubber mat with a sound so quiet it felt like a breath. Her instincts told her what to do. Grabbing the bag, stepping back, calling security, but she hesitated. The rule: never leave your register. Call it in. Record lost property. And yet, if she called security, she'd lose a customer. Lose the tip. Lose the hours. Lose the medicine. Her hand hovered above the internal call button. In her head, the voice: lose the customer, lose the tip. Lose the hours, lose the meds. A chill darted up her spine. The red rec light on the overhead camera blinked twice, then froze as if someone had just reset it. Sir, she called before she could stop herself. He paused in the doorway between rain and fluorescent light. His bodyguard in a slicker turned, sizing her up, just a cashier in a damp apron, strange and out of place. You dropped your wallet, she called, holding it out with both hands. Air guards started to step in, but Anna pulled back reflex after too many scams. I'll give it back to you directly. Her voice was sharp and brief. It was a reckless choice. One false move and she'd lose her job, or worse, be accused of theft. The screen on her register flashed a system message: night shift remote monitoring active. The white letters on black felt like eyes staring down at her neck. The man nodded and reached for the wallet. When their hands met, it was electric. She glimpsed the edge of what looked like a faded photo inside. She tried not to look, yet her eyes betrayed her. It was a small laminated photo worn around the edges of a woman sitting in a grassy field. Her hair was brown and loose, her eyes blue. She was smiling exactly the same smile Anna had memorized, framed on a desk beside her mother's medicine box. For a moment, the supermarket fell silent. The rain, the scanner, everything faded. Only her heart slammed. Beep, beep, like the scanner relentless. "Do you know her?" The words escaped her in a breath, her voice trembling. The guard paused. His glance flicked to the little silver pendant around Anna's neck, a drop-shaped charm etched with a faint symbol. His lips tightened but then relaxed. Micro-twitch. Nothing more. The man's gaze shifted between the photo and Anna. His voice dropped. "Why do you ask?" She swallowed. Her throat felt metallic. "Because she's my mother." Suddenly, the air grew heavy, as if the strings of a violin had been strangled mid-crescendo. The guard shifted. The automatic doors sighed shut, then reopened. A distant siren threaded through the rain. A wave of panic crashed through her. "What if I'm wrong? If I'm wrong, I'll get fired. The meds stop. My brother leaves the team. Rent, unpaid." She inhaled deeply, the air sharp and cold inside her lungs. "Choose another," voice whispered hers, but from the cramped room where her mother lay sick, counting bills in the dark. Silence doesn't buy medicine. "I'm sorry," the guard said, voice steady again. "You should go back to your register. Just answer me." Anna pressed, clutching the edge of the counter. "Do you know her?" He didn't answer. Instead, he drew a thin metal card from the wallet and rotated it, letting the faint symbol catch the light. The same symbol etched on her pendant, only sharper. The two halves of a scratched emblem distorted by time. In the ballroom, the MC's voice echoed, "Family is our inspiration." A slide changed an old lakeside house, a grainy photograph of the same young woman. Marcus Cole's mother sat in the front row. Her smile rehearsed her fingers, lightly brushing a button embossed with that very symbol. "What's your name?" the man finally asked. "Anna." "Last name?" "Parker." His eyes flickered not surprise, but recognition, like someone placing a chess piece they'd long studied. The guard's earpiece crackled. "Cars ready. Heavy rain. Flooding roads. Still working nights?" he asked. "Yes." "Until when?" 1 a.m. "I'll come back." The words were soft, cold as code. He slid the photo and card back into the wallet as his fingers lingered over the etched symbol. Another memory flickered across her gaze, the cracked line on the back of her pendant mirrored in a similar scratch across the card. Two halves of a collision long ago. The guard opened an umbrella. The automatic doors swung open again. Wind, rain, and a few scattered receipts fluttered in. His hand brushed near her collar for a moment, almost adjusting her apron strap, but then pulled away. Silent, polite, but that brief contact felt like a promise. "Don't trust strangers," the manager's voice whispered behind her. Sharp. Cutting. "Yes?" Mr. Gerald, Anna said. She shoved the mounded receipts back in place, flicking her gaze to the camera above. The REC light blinked twice and froze again. Gerald frowned. "System reset." "I don't know," she said. "Stay sharp," he said. "A warning, maybe a promise." Back at the counter, she wiped the surface, matching her breath to the scanner's stubborn rhythm. Her phone vibrated again. "Hospital final day for payment is tomorrow." She closed her eyes, saw her mother's eyes like January rain whisper, "Don't worry." She opened her eyes and peered through the sliding doors. A black sedan slid away like a silent shark. An old woman approached with a cart. "Excuse me, dear, can I trade this for something else?" "Sure." Plastic bags rustled. Rain drummed. Somewhere, or maybe inside Anna, a violin resumed echoing not from a gilded ballroom, but from her nerves. The world kept turning, but one thread had been pulled. Just a little more, and the carpet would slip out from under her. As the woman walked away, Anna flipped to her small ledger. Hours worked tips, medication bills. On its margin was a small, water-swollen photo, her mother curled on wild grass, the same smile. She closed the book, her fingers curling around the pendant. The headline on a magazine blown inside read, "An empire that knows everything except its private secrets." The page spun once, landed face down at her feet. Anna bent down, folded the page, and almost smiled, quiet on the edge of despair. She looked like someone standing on a cliff, knowing that sometimes jumping is the only way to swim to the other side. Rain fell harder. The clock blinked 10:37 p.m. Anna took a slow breath, whispering to herself. In that wallet was my mother. Outside, the January rain slanted down, sprinkling innumerable pins of cold against the gleaming glass buildings. At one end of the street, the revolving doors of the Cole Hotel turned slowly, as if loath to touch the rain. A luxury car rolled up under the canopy, and a man in a black trench coat stepped out. His leather shoes met the marble with a dry, precise click, expensive and crisp. At the other end, in a stairwell plastered with faded flyers, a dim yellow bulb flickered. Anna Parker navigated the wet iron steps carrying a cloth tote. One side of the street smelled of new leather and deep perfume. The other reeked of peeling paint rust and cheap raincoats, worlds colliding on the same avenue separated by an ocean of power and poverty. Their apartment was on the 4th floor at the end of a narrow hallway. The key turned in the lock with a weary click. Anna slipped off her shoes, stepping lightly on the warped wooden floorboards. A bedside lamp came to life, casting a small circle of warmth, just enough to light the cheap wooden photo frame next to the medicine box. Her mother lay on her side, breathing softly, her breath as delicate as dew on glass. Her brother Danny, 16, sat at his desk, chin resting on a math notebook. His earbuds were dangling, the cord broken and held together by a toothpick. "You're home?" Danny asked, tugging at one earbud. "Yeah." Anna sighed, setting down her bag and brushing rain-soaked strands from her face, offering a gentle smile. "Has Mom been asleep long?" "About 15 minutes." The hospital messaged again. Danny held out his phone. 3 messages flashed white text on blue payment due tomorrow. Each letter felt like a stone dropping into her stomach. Anna lowered the phone and opened a drawer. Bundles of invoices tied with rubber bands tumbled out, their corners curling. She had taken to writing the date, amount, purpose on every slip in precise, small handwriting to fit as much as she could onto one page. On top was this month's medication invoice. The last line was underlined in red, "If delayed provision will be suspended." She swallowed hard. From around her neck, her silver pendant slipped free, half hidden under her collar like a coin turned unexpected. The pendant was the only physical remnant from other days, a tiny teardrop engraved with a faint, incomprehensible symbol scored by a diagonal crack. In that wallet was my mother. The thought, fresh in her memory at the checkout, forced her to validate its truth. She opened a second drawer and pulled out an old tin keepsake box. Inside lay a 3x4 photo of her mother as a young woman, smiling brightly, her brown hair loose around her shoulders. Anna placed it beside the pendant and studied both. The engraving on the pendant's backside, faint broken lines, matched the pattern on the metal symbol she'd glimpsed in the stranger's wallet. This was not coincidence. Foreshadow a lock with 2 mismatched keys. Rain tapped the window, tock, 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 a steady metronome. In the kitchen, the kettle hissed and popped steam, fogging the chipped steel lid. Anna made a bag of tea, stirring in a spoonful of brown sugar that Danny had scraped together, and carried it to her mother. Her feet touched the damp vinyl rug beside the bed. She sat at the edge of the mattress and whispered into her mother's ear, "I'm home, Mom." Her eyelids fluttered. Her mother pressed a fragile smile that didn't reach her eyes. The breathing tube at her nose trembled with each breath. Her left hand lay on the blanket, fragile as parchment. Anna gently placed her fingertips along a blue vein that pulsed like a wire and felt a tiny spark surge to her heart. From the doorway, Danny watched, holding the photo frame. "I have tryouts tomorrow," he said quietly. "How much?" $150. That fee was smaller than the hospital bill, but bigger than everything they had. Anna's gaze roamed the room, a cracked piggy bank on the floor, a tin box of spare change, her secret last $20 bill hidden in a drawer. If we pay the fee, we can't pay the meds. If we don't, Danny loses the team and the scholarship. It was a fork with 2 broken blades. "Let me see what I can do," she replied. "Or should I just quit?" "No," she said more firmly than she expected. "You've waited 3 years for this shot." Then the voice of urgency crept back in, the voice of bills, deadlines, fees. "What are you doing?" "Anna." But a second voice, warm and sharp, countered, "Don't cut dreams just because of fear." A knock came at the door, 3 short raps. Anna opened it to the building manager in a dark turtleneck, clutching a folder, his brow etched into a permanent crease. "Your rent," he said, voice rasping, "2 weeks overdue." "I know. You have 3 days. After that, formal notice." He pointed to a folder where the word eviction waited like a trap. 3 days, Anna echoed, each word stuck between her teeth. He glared at the pendant peeking from her collar. His eyes lingered on the crack for a moment before moving on, blank and dismissive. But she noticed. Years of hardship had taught her people see more than you think. They just choose not to. He closed the door. Their apartment shrank into a wooden box perfumed with medicine-cheap detergent and lingering rain. Anna sat back down and opened her expense ledger columns labeled hospital rent, team fee, bus fare. The numbers flowed into a bottomless river. She checked off a small line, new coat. 3 winters in the same one. She added, sell old stuff. Her eyes darted around the busted toaster-cracked desk lamp mini sewing machine from a flea market. What could it fetch? A number too small even for hope. The pendant was in her hand, the only item she could sell quickly and at reasonable price. She clenched it. Cold and heavier than she remembered. The engraving echoed in her mind like the metal card in that stranger's wallet. They fit together like gears. She opened the pendant. It was empty dust inside. The last time her mother said, "Don't take it apart. Keeping it close is enough." Her mother didn't say don't sell, but she didn't say go ahead either. Anna lifted the keepsake box, placed the pendant inside, and snapped it shut. "What are you doing?" Danny whispered. "Taking it to get fixed," she answered, not looking at him. It was both true, the crack needed repair, and a lie, because if she couldn't find the money, she'd sell it. Her phone buzzed a message from Gerald, the supermarket manager. "Be in 30 minutes early tomorrow. Camera audit." Camera. Tonight at Register 6, the REC light had blinked oddly. Someone had reset it. If they review the tapes, they'll see her leave her station to give the man back the wallet. Company policy: never leave your register, never interact outside your zone. The violations list could outprice her wage. Risk 1 job, risk 2 meds. She shoved the phone into her back pocket and put on her coat. "Where are you going?" "Just out, to get something fixed." "Can I come?" "Study okay." Danny hesitated, then rummaged in his room and handed her a student ID card with a smudged 10% off voucher for employees and their families. "Can this work?" Anna stared at it like a life preserver in a whirlpool. "Yes, thank you." She slipped it into her wallet along with a small photo of them 3 sisters from a rare sunny day. Outside, the rain had eased. Neon lights smeared across puddles. Anna slipped into a tiny silversmith's stall squeezed between fake coat shops. The goldsmith peered over thick glasses, a round beam from the lamp over the workspace illuminating the pendant. "What do you need?" "Can you fix this crack?" Anna placed the pendant delicately on the leather pad. The silversmith leaned in, glasses sliding down his nose. Old piece, solid silver, hand engraved. He turned it over. This symbol. He squinted. Unusual. "Can you fix it?" "Yes, $25. $25 more than a dinner for 2, less than 1/10 the hospital bill." Anna counted the coins, 18. Not enough. A desperate thought flickered, sell it. But the pendant was her connection to her mother, and to that symbol. It wasn't just money. It was a map. To sell it would burn the map. "I have a 10% off voucher," she offered. The jeweler waved dismissively. "Supermarket discount doesn't apply here." She pressed on, voice lower. "Then, would you let me owe you the rest? I can leave my ID." He chuckled, not unkindly, but practical. "Your ID is just paper to me." Anna under her breath. "Then let me leave this as bond." She pushed the pendant and box toward him. "I only need the repair. I'll pay tomorrow." He looked at her long. "You're sure?" "Yes." "What if you don't come back?" "I will." A pause. Rain pattered again. A radio played in the corner. Cole Enterprises announces public medical support. The name Cole dropped into her ears like a coin in a glass. He nodded and slid a receipt toward her. "Tomorrow morning," she signed. The pen scraped on the paper. Under item number 1997, hand-engraved teardrop, he drew a tiny version of the symbol on its back. Sharp, accurate. Anna looked at matched the symbol from the wallet. Another anchor. She felt it settle into her chest. After leaving the shop, she stopped at a pawn shop at the next corner and traded the sewing machine for $40. The clerk looked at her through the glass thumb near her necklace as though weighing something beyond the machine. "If you also leave that radio," he offered. "No." She said it before the thought formed. The radio was her link to the world. The music at night made Mom hurt less. "Okay, suit yourself." She pocketed the cash, stepped out, nearly stumbled in a puddle. Light sparkled under the lamplight. In the distance, a digital billboard flickered to a photo of Marcus Cole at a gala with a blonde woman, his mother. On her lapel was that same symbol, only sharper, newer. A chill raced down her spine. She froze, eyes riveted to that tiny crest. "Not coincidence," her mind whispered. "That is a visual signature." Back home, she dumped the money on the table. "How much?" Danny rushed over. "Enough for the team fee." She handed him $150. "Submitted in the morning." "What about hospital?" She stared at the ledger, then the medicine box. Calculating. She pulled $20 to give as a deposit for tomorrow's repair. The remaining $5 would have to wait. "Tomorrow I'll go in early, ask for an extra shift," she scribbled. Her phone buzzed. "If unpaid by 4 p.m. medication will be suspended." Under it, a tiny line, "Contact Cole Fund for assistance." She tapped it like it was a doorway labeled "Exit the top," saying "Uncertain stairway." "Call them," Danny asked. She shook her head. Tomorrow. Night had fallen. Boston lay beneath a veil of rain, distant sirens threading through the wind. Inside, the desk lamp glowed golden, softening the rough edges of the room. Anna sat by the window, opened a fresh page in her notebook, and drew 3 columns. Truth, money, boundaries. Under truth, the photo in the man's wallet, the pendant's matching symbol, the lapel pin on Marcus's mother. Under money, hospital due tomorrow, rent 3 days, team fee paid. Under boundaries, work rules, cameras. Who to tell, first hospital or him? Sell or keep the pendant? She closed the notebook. Her mother's breathing was steadier. The clock ticked to 12:03 a.m., a subtle jolt, like a heart hitting the threshold of something new. Anna stood, went to the top shelf in the kitchen, pulled down an old box marked Parker, 2018, old documents. Inside, hospital forms, her own birth certificate, a printed job application she never sent. At the bottom, an envelope marked CO in blue pen, trailing off as though someone stopped mid-thought. She collapsed into the chair, knees weak. She turned the photo, her mother at a piano behind her, a wood-paneled wall with repeating teardrop motifs. The setting wasn't theirs. It was older, grander, historical. Beside the photo, written in pencil, CO, abruptly broken like everything unfinished. Anna sat staring. CO. Cole thought pounded at her temples. Cole Hotel, Cole Enterprises, Cole Foundation. The answer had been there, glaring like a lit sign she'd been walking past for years. She sketched the pendant's engraving in the notebook, a stylized teardrop crisscrossed by 3 curved lines and a diagonal slash, then taped the piano photo opposite it. They spoke without words, a symbol, a wall, both belonging to a house she had never entered. A draft slipped through the gap in the door, stirring the curtain. She imagined the hush of a private elevator somewhere, leather soles on marble. In her mind, a reckless impulse stirred. Go find him. Speak or stay silent. Those words weighed on her tongue. To speak would break rules. To stay silent would bury herself alive. She grabbed her raincoat, pocketed the notebook photo and receipt, and turned to look at her mother one last time. "I'm stepping out for a bit." Her mother didn't open her eyes, but her fingertip twitched in the air as though sensing her presence. Anna placed her hand against it, transferring a little warmth. Danny, half awake, watched from the doorway. "Sis, I'm going to find answers. Lock up, okay? Don't be gone too long. I promise." The hallway was dark. Her steps triggered a warm amber halo from the sensor. On the opposite door, a red notice read, "Service fees due." The mingled smells of detergent and fried garlic filled the hallway. Rain flared against her again, cold and tactile. She descended the metal stairs, each tread clicking rapidly. Her shadow flickered across the wall like a small flame sprinting through a tunnel. Stepping into the street, the wind caught her coat, ballooning it like a sail. Far ahead, the Cole Tower rose like an enormous needle piercing the low clouds. its top lit by a slow, pulsing red beacon. An eye awakened. She stared up at it, inhaling. Her breath marked in the cold air, then vanished. The night in Boston flipped over. Outside the sliding glass doors of the supermarket, a black sedan lay motionless like a sleeping beast, its glass misted with rain. The wiper blade swept once across the window, clearing the murky droplets, only for them to gather again. Inside, pale neon light drizzled down the aisles like cold chalk dust, turning rows of cereal boxes into a geometric forest of plastic and cardboard. At register number 6, the barcode scanner murmured, "Beep, beep," steadily. Nearby, a radio flickered in the corner, playing live a distant waltz from a gala across the city, violins threading through the rain's rhythm like silk slipping into a pile of cheap nylon. Anna straightened her apron, her index finger resting on the scanner edge as though that were her heartbeat's tempo. The synthetic citrus tang from the floor cleaner still clung to her neck. The wall clock nudged past 10 p.m., its second hand gliding like a cold fish. Down the wine aisle he appeared, no flashy entrance, no announcement needed, a man in a black trench coat, broad shoulders, a thin watch gliding around his wrist, deliberate steps that meant something. He paused before the rare wine cabinet and the manager hurried to unlock it. The key clicked sharp and deliberate like a sacrament being unveiled. "The single malt 25-year top shelf," the manager said, reverent. "Yes?" The man nodded, emotionless. His gray eyes took in the label just long enough to mark it, brief enough to show he already knew it. He carried the bottle to Anna's register. The temperature seemed to drop half a degree, or maybe she imagined it. The cold glass bottle lay in her hand like ice. "Good evening," Anna said, voice measured. "Good evening?" His tone was deep, skipping polite pleasantries to land in a calm, steady note. She scanned the bottle. Beep. The number showed up long enough that the last digits vanished behind the decimal. He handed her a black card, no logo. His fingertips brushed hers, cold, dry, almost lifeless. "Please sign." His signature appeared in slender, forward-leaning script, as if he'd been taught to always take the first step. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. Hospital payment due tomorrow at 4 p.m. She let her eyes flick to it, then shut it like stamping out a forgotten cigarette. In her mind, another clock ticked in the hospital ward, counting the beats she couldn't hear. "Paper bag, please," he said. "Certainly." Anna slipped the bottle into a thick paper bag and folded the receipt thrice inside. The transaction ended, but it didn't feel done. Something about his gaze swept over the register, glancing at the overhead camera intentionally yet unconcerned. He was being watched. He knew where every camera was, and the cameras knew he knew. He turned to leave. His trench coat caught a draft. A leather wallet slipped from his pocket, skidding like a fish across the rubber mat before the counter with a muted thump. Anna reflexively slid over the yellow staff-only line. Her fingers brushed true leather, hand-stitched, aged at the seams, clearly personal. Rules dictated, don't leave your register. Call security. Record lost property. She pressed the internal call button. Blue light flickered. A beep sounded. Overhead, the REC light on the camera blinked twice, then stayed still. Anna looked upward. Why that same double blink she'd seen last night? Foreshadow someone somewhere was tampering with their system. Sir, Anna called out. The guard accompanying him pivoted, droplets of rain clinging to his raincoat. He approached, hand extended for the wallet. Anna's night shift instincts froze her. She shoved more intention into her hand, refusing to let go. I'll return it directly to him. Her voice was sharper than usual, tempered by hundreds of unpaid bills and unpaid nights. A brave moment she couldn't afford. Yet she gave it. In her mind, Gerald's chilling words echoed, don't leave your post. Don't do anything unauthorized. The camera never lies. Violate that and you risk official warning. And tomorrow's hospital bill. The guard's gaze flicked to the pendant at her collar. A silver teardrop cracked across its surface. His eyes narrowed like a camera zooming. A micro-movement, small but undeniable. Don't cause trouble, he said quietly. No trouble, Anna replied, handing the wallet to the man. You dropped it. He took it. In that instant, skin touched skin, the wallet's flap lifted, revealing a yellowed plastic corner of a photo. Anna didn't want to look. but her eyes betrayed her. Inside was a small photo, a woman seated in a wild flower field, sun making her brown hair glow, her blue eyes half shut, her smile a sliver of light breaking through clouds. That smile, inexplicably familiar. The cheap frame on Anna's bedside table had held that image for years. Morning and night she said hello. It was her mother. Her heart skipped. The rain sounded farther away. Her mother's face blinked alive in whoever's wallet this was. "Do you know her?" Anna's question came out breathless. The guard tensed. The man's gaze shifted from Anna to the photo neon light slicing his cheekbone into shadows, a blade-edge silhouette. "Why do you ask?" His voice dropped softer. "Because that is my mother." Anna felt her voice become someone else's, braver, wilder. Now everything tightened. If she was wrong, Gerald would be there in seconds, dragging her away from the register. Rent in 3 days. Hospital bill tomorrow. If she was right, everything would shatter like glass, and you can't sweep up broken glass when you're juggling inventory and total buttons. The man didn't answer. He slid the photo out with long fingers. The plastic edge was worn smooth like wax. A thin metal card slid out after steel glinting under fluorescent light, etched with an identical teardrop and slash insignia that matched her pendant's faded engraving. 2 pieces of the same puzzle. The guard saw, or almost saw. Anna's chest tightened. Foreshadow the family crest, a trap door. "Your name?" the man asked. "Anna." Last name, Parker. His reaction wasn't surprise. It was confirmation of a pre-played move. He shifted the photo into his other hand, eyed the camera above. A green light flickered, then died. From down the aisle, Gerald emerged with his clipboard. Timing couldn't have been worse. "Is something wrong here?" Gerald's voice cut in, scanning wallet. "Anna," the man. "No," the man responded evenly. Gerald masked his vigilance with a polite half smile. "It's been a pleasure serving you. I'll return around 1 a.m. The man said, not looking at Gerald, but looking at Anna. A short sentence that left behind both a promise and a trap. If he comes back, this story will grow. If not, tonight will become fever dream. Gerald scribbled something on his sheet. "Anna, see me after your shift." His tone was small, sharp. "Yes." Her throat was dry. The man slid the photo into his wallet but kept the metal token. He rolled it between his fingers, steel against skin, precise. The guard glanced at her pendant. The crack aligned with the slanted slash in the emblem. A confession in 2 pieces. "Man, it's pouring out there." The guard opened an umbrella. "Let's go," the man replied. The glass doors parted, a gust of cold air whooshed in shuffling receipts onto the floor like fallen paper butterflies. The pedestrian scent of rain followed him out. His leather shoes clicked solidly on the threshold. The sedan rumbled smooth, rich. Anna stood still for a moment. The image of her mother receded from her vision like a skin peeling away. She reached for her pendant, cold under her fingertip. Her phone buzzed, hospital final reminder. Below it appeared a link, pay now. Money and truth wrestled in a space too small to hold both. Anna. Gerald stood beside her silent till just now. "You left your register." I returned the wallet. Camera recorded it. The RX light was off. Gerald's eyebrow lifted for a moment, then he smiled again. "The system never stops." That wasn't an invitation, it was a decree. "After your shift," he repeated before walking away. A customer placed 2 soup cans and a packet of cough drops on the conveyor. "Cold night, huh?" "Yes." Anna scanned. Beep, beep. She forced her breath to match the scanner's rhythm. Each beep felt like hammering nails into her heart. The voucher Danny had placed in her phone case peeked out a reminder. Some things only get 1 discount. Fate never does. 11:58 p.m. 2 minutes till shift's end. The rain continues. The black sedan is gone as if never existed. But on the floor, its tire marks remain 2 parallel lines deeper than all the others, a sign. Anna knelt to wipe. The scent of wet paper and rain made her cough. She looked up on the magazine rack, a slit showing the gala. Richard Cole raising a toast with Marcus beaming beside him. On the lapel of the woman beside Marcus, a teardrop with a diagonal slash badge shining. The same symbol, the same family, the same world just across 3 blocks and an ocean. Anna turned the radio up gently. The waltz faded into adagio. She heard the strings hum textured like rain. He'd return in an hour if his word counted. What if he doesn't? A voice asked. Then I'll find him myself. Another answered. She opened her notebook and wrote one short line in the otherwise blank page, photo mother. She underlined it twice. The pen pressed deep ink bleeding over the page like rain through tin. The shift change bell rang. Anna removed her apron, buttoned her coat, and wound the pendant around her fingers one more time. Her purse vibrated another message from the hospital. The words were icily sharp. Stops, dispensing if overdue. She inhaled slowly, braced herself with a silent cord looped around her heart. She would pay. But tonight she had to keep the map. She would not sell the pendant. She would not stay silent. Outside Cole Tower atop the skyline blinked again. Inside the neon still flickered. Anna stood tall, her eyes no longer blinking at the word eviction hovering in her mind. She repeated her earlier defiant words, words that yanked her from safety, poverty, anonymity. That photo is my mother. The rain had finally stopped. Wet pavement reflected the lights of the Cole Tower in immaculate yellow streaks glowing as though wiped clean each passing minute. Across the street, the rusting sign, "Employee Parking," shuddered against the night breeze. Opposites collided on one side, neat lines of black sedans with paint deep as ink. On the other, a vacant lot littered with damp trash, its corrugated iron roof under the supermarket's flickering neon, resembling a dull, persistent cough. 1:02 a.m. The supermarket's glass doors shut behind Anna. Gerald stood at the office window holding his folder like a sledgehammer. His eyes flicked to the wall clock and moved on. The hospital reminder waited in her phone payment due tomorrow at 4 p.m. A tiny ticking bomb. Anna pulled her raincoat hood up, clutching a canvas tote inside her notebook, with the old photo, the repair receipt from the jeweler, and a broken fountain pen. The talisman itself was gone, but the proof wasn't her mother's photo taped in the notebook next to her newly traced teardrop symbol. 3 doors down stood the VIP valet for the hotel. Yet the black sedan had parked itself in the shadows alongside a moss-streaked wall, a typical habit of someone who preferred darkness over limelight. The guard stood firm. Raindrops dripped from his coat as he held the back door ajar. The driver inside watched through the mirror eyes dark as unlit roads. Anna approached. Her canvas sneakers, dry a moment ago, were wet once more. "You're here." The guard's voice was soft, not surprised. He said 1 o'clock, Anna answered, steadying her breath. Bravery was a loan she was borrowing tonight from a future she didn't yet have. He caught a glimpse of the cracked pendant peeking at her collar, the slash glowing faintly as though a frozen lightning bolt. A micro-twitch flickered at his eyes. Recognition. The rear door fully swung open, revealing a walnut-finished interior and the scent of pristine leather. There he sat. The man in the black trench coat, silver light from the car pooling over his hand, spotlighting a small horizontal scar across his thumb. The wallet was placed next to him, and the metal teardrop he spun between his fingers glowed in the dark like an alive creature. The talisman was active. It was no longer an accidental flash in a wallet. It was a question shimmering between them. "Come in," he said. Anna stayed outside, standing at the door's threshold as rain dripped like cold needles onto her nape. "Why do you have a photo of my mother?" Her words landed one at a time like stones laid across streaming water. The guard shifted, forming a shield against the draft. The driver remained motionless. In that instant, every risk in Anna's mind staged a rapid flash. If he got angry, her life might crumble like paper into the shredder. If he laughed it off, the night would dissolve into illusion, and she'd be labeled paranoid. If he ignored her, she'd lose her shift and the hospital bill would strike at 4 p.m. He said nothing. He looked at her face, then to the pendant hiding beneath her collar. His finger paused over the metal token. A deep exhalation rose as though he'd set a heavy load down after decades. "Anna." He spoke her name low as though calling out a long-held secret. "My daughter." There was no lightning strike, no orchestral swell, Only the drips from the rooftop, the thrum of tires on distant tarmac, and her heartbeat this time a solid resonant beat. "What did you say she managed?" "My daughter," he repeated, voice still smooth like a lake after the storm. Her name was Lily. Anna tightened her grip on the tote until her fingertips whitened. Lily. Her mother's at-home name. Only 3 people had used that name in her life. Her grandmother, a vague man from her mother's dreamy stories, and now, him. She felt for her notebook through the coat lining. There lay the photo taped inside horizontal with CO written by pencil at the corner. She yanked it out, flipped to that page, and held it up toward the car's light. The talisman wasn't an apparition anymore. It was proof she'd placed on the table. "This is her," Anna said. "Why is her photo in your wallet?" He raised his hand but didn't touch the book. "Because I never stopped carrying her." "But..." She drew in a breath, tuning her words. "My mother disappeared." The guard gazed upward, almost pulling his eyes away. The driver adjusted the wheel, pointless movement. His phone vibrated in the console screen, lighting up M. Cole. Then darkness. Foreshadow. Marcus. That name sliced through Anna like a sudden chill. "Get in," he instructed softly. "It's not safe here." "I'm not getting in," Anna said, not loudly but decisively. She closed off that possibility with her tone. "You answer me here." Inside the polished wood, genuine leather scent, and moss-damp air, she chose moss. Power remained behind the car door. Courage stood in front of her. "Gerald's waiting for you," the guard whispered like a debt reminder. "And the cameras." "I know." Anna swallowed. "I'm still asking." She heard her own voice, calm, unbroken. Her body trembled. Her heart pounded, but somewhere she felt her first step onto a new staircase, even though she couldn't see the rungs. He looked toward the supermarket, its neon haze smearing the night. He reached into his wallet, pulling out the photo again. The stadium light glinted off the worn plastic edge. He lifted it as though inspecting the first sip of a vintage wine. "Lily left," he said. "But she never left me." "That doesn't answer," Anna said. A crease formed at his lips, no smile, just history wearing into his face. "Because if I told you everything he said, you would never sleep again." "I'm not sleeping tonight," Anna answered. "From tomorrow they'll watch you." Her quiet laugh held both irony and defiance. Since last night, the camera blinked twice. The guard scrambled to check the supermarket camera above them. 2 red lights had just gone dark. Another whisper from the unseen foreshadow. "I don't need promises," Anna said, voice steadier now than at the open door. "I need answers." He studied her. From close, she saw the lines around his eyes, few, but deep. Not born from laughter, but from worry and time spent waiting. "All right." He pulled a slender black business card, blank except for the faint teardrop symbol etched but unlettered. On the back, 10 digits, no name. "Call me at 7:30 a.m. I'll pick you up. Up there where we cannot be overheard. I'm not getting in a car tonight." "I didn't invite you." He held out the card. "I made the appointment." She took the card. It was warm, as if lifted from the inside of his coat, close to his heart. She placed it in her notebook between her mother's photo and the receipt sealed with a rubber band. The talisman was no longer a simple image. It was the connection to the tower, the symbol, and a new path. "One more thing." His voice dropped lower. "Don't bring anyone. Just my mother and brother. Keep them home, locked safe." A rush of wind upset the graffiti-laced moss wall outside. The driver started the engine. The guard closed the door. Anna stepped back, avoiding the car's threshold. "Anna." His voice called one last time. She met his gaze. "Tomorrow night," he said, not as invitation, but as fate, don't go to the supermarket. Her pulse pounded through her temples. Not going tomorrow would mean losing her shift. But going would cost her the only open door to the truth. She nodded. It was small but sure. The car door closed softly like a book's final page shut. Neon lights dimmed into the supermarket's night mode. The parking lot emptied. But she didn't feel emptier. In her pocket, the black card brushed against the receipt. The broken pen bleeding ink across her thumb, a mark of a night that would not retract. She walked back toward her building's fire escape. Her shoes clicked sharply against the metal steps. With each step up, she rose away from fear. On the third-floor window, her mother's lamp glowed steady and warm. She pressed her forehead to the glass for a moment, cold sweeping through her hair. Then she whispered low, as though the night itself could listen. One word, daughter, unlocked my whole life. Dawn flowed over Boston like a cold glaze poured over ceramic. To her right, a garbage truck lumbered through a puddle, its sour stench cutting straight into her nose. To her left, the Cole Tower lobby opened its revolving doors, exhaling warmth tinged with cedarwood and bergamot. One side buzzed with the rattle of bottles. The other echoed with the dry, costly click of leather soles on marble. Anna stood between these worlds, clutching a fraying canvas tote. Inside the notebook peeked out its edge, revealing her mother's photograph taped carefully in place. Around her neck, the silver pendant she'd had repaired last night caught a sliver of light across its old crack. In her coat pocket, the black business card, etched with a faint teardrop, grazed her wallet with each anxious swallow. Your appointment card. The receptionist's voice was steady and cool as her makeup. Anna turned over the black card under a small UV lamp. The teardrop glowed clear as veins beneath skin. Right this way? Elevator A? She summoned a guard whose black vest fit impeccably, a radio clipped at his waist. They guided Anna across gray-veined marble floors. Oil paintings lined the corridor, a kneeling man draped in velvet hand pressed to a globe. A chignoned woman clad in pearls. Thin gold frames whispered, "We've stood here for ages." Anna glimpsed herself in the marble reflection. Faded sneakers, washed-out jeans, the exhaustion under her eyes. Her phone's pinned reminders glowed Hospital 4 p.m. and Gerald 5:30 p.m., two anchors pulling her in opposing directions. The private elevator doors slid open with polished silence, smoked glass panels, stainless steel untouched by fingerprints. There was only one button, a teardrop symbol. Anna pressed her palm to the card inside her coat like touching a protective talisman. The guard swiped and the doors shut nearly silently. The elevator climbed, the only sound a soft whine of cables hidden rich rare. In the mirrored walls, there were three reflections of Anna, one straight-faced, one in profile, and one layered over the faint teardrop motif shimmering behind her. She touched her pendant, allowing its coolness to anchor her resolve. Don't tremble. Speak. Don't beg. The doors opened into a breathtaking space. Penthouse at the top of the tower. Marble floor faded into mirror-soft walnut. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed Boston laid out flat as a blueprint, rivers like silver threads, rooftops napping as chess pieces. Winter light washed sharp edges in a pale glow. To her left stood a Steinway piano, black wood lid, barely cracked ivory keys yellowed like kind, knowing smiles. Behind the piano wood paneling repeated the teardrop motif just like the wall in her mother's photo. Anna froze. The talisman in the picture had materialized into real space, solid, undeniable. You're early. The deep voice of Richard drifted in from the window. He stood with his back turned, hand resting lightly on the ledge, and ash-gray shirt cuffs revealing the same horizontal scar she'd seen the night before. The silent guard stood nearby, tie straightened and rain washed away. I came for proof. Her tone was even unwavering. Richard turned, studying her. His gaze wasn't chilly but vigilant, like a gatekeeper evaluating whether to open or close the door behind him. Always this blunt. I don't have time. Anna raised her chin. 4 p.m. The guard checked his watch. Richard nodded, slight but firm. He reached for a drawer in the low table beside the piano, opening it with his fingerprint. The slide mechanism clicked softly. He retrieved a thick black leather folder, no title, no markings. It landed on the table with a delicate plop. Here. He unveiled it. The pages were yellowed edges worn through time. First, a photo of Anna's mother, young, smiling, set against the same teardrop-patterned wall. Then came a private hospital bill dated 23 years ago. A performance registration under the name Lily in a music hall bearing the teardrop logo. And a faxed journal entry in slanted handwriting, bleeding, coffee-stained ink, its final line cut off abruptly with CO. Anna's heartbeat pounded. She pulled forward a chair but stayed standing, bracing herself against the weight of history. May I hold it? Richard nodded. Her trembling fingers lifted the photograph. It felt soft like fabric, the ink grain real, not a digital recreation. Why keep the journal? It's incomplete. He gestured toward a coffee-stained corner. The only copy I could get before they cleared out everything. Who cleared it all out? Someone who didn't want traces left behind. His eyes drifted to the city beyond. Marcus Anna's whisper escaped. The guard's eyes flickered, micro-tensing at his mouth like a blade's glint. Don't name him yet. Richard's voice quieted. This house has ears. Anna scanned the room. A discreet camera, black dot on a frame, a thin glint on the ceiling. Everything reflective wood, glass, marble. She pulled her pendant from beneath her collar. If they have ears, I have locks. She placed the pendant atop the folder, revealing the repaired teardrop symbol aligned with that of the token from last night. The guard leaned slightly, his finger tracing the crack, pausing mid-line. You had it repaired, Richard observed. Last night. By whom? A small stall at the night market. Name? I don't remember. Richard looked her straight in the eyes. You will remember, always. A weight pressed into Anna's chest as if someone touched an old wound. She raised her gaze, steadying. I remember the price. 25. I was 5 short. The guard cleared his throat. Hands folded behind. Reality clamped down around them. Money and truth laid bare on the table. Anna pressed her feet into the floor, anchoring herself. Speak, don't beg. Richard closed the dossier and opened another compartment. This time a small wooden box with a key lock. He pulled out a strange, jagged key from his pocket, clicking it in like snapping fingers. Inside was a metal badge, shiny, unbroken, bearing the teardrop symbol that matched Anna's pendant. This is the family's emblem. He placed it beside hers. Yours. Mine. Lily left her mark. I kept it. Why didn't you give it back? Because if I had given it back too soon, you'd be dead. The room seemed to cool. A breeze stirred the tall olive plant by the balcony. Anna looked down at the 2 teardrops, one broken, one whole across time. I want to know why my mother disappeared. Because she chose to stay behind so you could leave. Who forced her to stay? Silence stretched. Above her, a thin clock ticked twice. Anna noted 4 p.m. Some truths must be spoken in order, Richard said. Otherwise you'll fall. I can stand. You're standing only because you don't yet know the depth of where you stand. The guard offered a soft, empathetic half-smile etched not in lips, but in the cheekbones. Foreshadow height isn't just a floor, it's power. Footsteps clicked on hardwood. A woman about 40 entered, hair in a tight bun, slate-gray suit, her gaze cool and assessing. She nodded at Anna, no pity, no indulgence, just recognition of a younger peer. The lawyer waits in the boardroom, she said. 10 minutes. Richard responded. The press is calling. Marcus is asking for your schedule. The name Marcus skidded through the air like a pebble. Ripples formed. Anna's heart fixated on the teardrop on the gala photo. A cold knot formed in her stomach. You're coming along, Richard said, touching the wooden box before closing it. He left the badges, hers, still alone. I'll leave them here, Anna said quietly. You believe they can't access this room? Richard tilted his head. They can access every room, she replied. The guard slipped this badge into his inner vest pocket, buttoning up. Foreshadow, the token, becomes part of the guardian. They walked down a warm, wood-paneled hallway. Family portraits watched like silent sentries. On one wall hung an empty frame, the glass missing, nails exposed. Anna paused. What was there? A portrait, the woman replied flatly. Of whom? Someone you shouldn't ask about right now. A micro-twitch. The empty frame felt like a silent confession, something removed too abruptly. They entered a glass-walled conference room. A long, gray, leather-lined table waited with 3 thick folders and 2 bottles of water arrayed neatly. A sharp-featured, silver-haired lawyer welcomed them standing. We won't ask you to sign an NDA, Anna stated before invitation came. That's correct. Richard nodded. Today is all talk. The lawyer smiled faintly. But you must understand one thing. What? What you learn will come at a high price. Everything's already high. Anna lifted her phone, 4 p.m., blinking like a reminder. I can pay full price. They sat. The air weighed heavier. The lawyer opened files, a photo of the Cole Family Foundation charter, a healthcare sponsorship contract, and a governance document marked with an underlined clause. In case of leadership dispute, Interim control of core assets rests with the CEO. Anna recognized that phrase had she read it before, in a film, a headline, or from the supermarket banner, an empire that knows everything except its private secrets. This clause, Anna tapped the underlined text, balances factions, the lawyer explained, or seizes control. No one smiled. The glass door shut. An elevator shaft outside whispered like metal slicing air. The woman with the bun checked her phone expression unchanged. "Press her on the 30th floor. Cancel it," Richard said. Marcus is in the lobby of the boardroom. A single bead of sweat snuck from the guard's nape and vanished. Foreshadow the inevitable first step is arriving. The opposition named armed with access. Anna pressed her talisman into her palm, the metal pressing into the callus, a patient ache that confirmed clarity. "You have a choice," Richard said, looking straight at her. "Go home now. I'll have someone take you down. Disappear. I'll cover the 4 p.m. bill and the rent for 3 days." The offer draped over coldness like a cashmere blanket. "No," Anna answered instantly. "I'm not selling the right to know my mother." "You will be watched. I already am. You'll lose your job." "I can find another. They'll target your family. Then I'll defend them here." This time, Richard nodded more firmly. He slid the heavy folder across. "From now on, you live inside this house." "No, my mother lives in my home." The guard glanced at Richard, her defiance clear. Not selling, not hiding, not retreating. Richard exhaled, eyes softly opening. "All right, go. Bring me copies to your place tonight. I can't carry all of it." She eyed the thickness of the files. "We'll scan it." The woman pointed to a sleek wooden scanner beneath the shelf. Encrypted using the symbol. Cipher. Anna arched an eyebrow. Richard looked at her pendant. "You're crack." The guard produced a slim key cold metal leaf with a faint teardrop engraving at the tip. "Temporary access to the 29th floor." He spoke quietly. "Single use." Anna accepted it. The talisman in her hand pressed hot. They put the symbol everywhere, even in places no one sees. She rose. Her waist felt tight with intent. The city tilting slightly beneath her spun, but she held herself. In her mind, hospital clock ticking, 5:30 p.m., Gerald. Marcus approaching. The empty frame waiting for her mother's image. The wooden box waiting to be opened. The teardrop motif mirrored in every detail. The talisman, it had become her path itself. They reached the exit. Another lift opened at the far end. Quiet voices and fading footsteps. Scent of new cologne. Confident strides. The woman signaled, "Use elevator B." The guard nodded and guided her toward a narrower, warmer corridor, smelling of rich wood and secrets. The elevator. B doors closed softly. Just before they fully shut, Anna caught a reflection in the curved glass. A tall man, slicked back hair, a teardrop pin gleaming brighter than any Marcus. He whispered something laughter thin but precise. Foreshadow, the opponent stands on stage, spotlight lit. The descent began. Anna pressed her back to the glass, clutching her pendant. Her breath steadied. Her lips cracked from dryness. In her pocket, the black card brushed the notebook. She looked into her own reflection in the glass. Then she whispered, quiet, gentle, but heavy as destiny. "I bring the truth home." The cleaning cart wheels squeaked over the marble floor. Across the aisle, a crocodile leather suitcase slid silently like a shark gliding over the seabed. The smell of cheap floor cleaner still clung to the damp mop, even as it collided with the warm walnut wood scent of the upper corridor. A stark contrast framed in one scene, a janitor in bright yellow rubber gloves beside the lawyer in charcoal suit, sleek tie and leather shoes tapping the marble with a crisp, affluent click. "Good morning." The lawyer nodded, resting his hand on a pair of thick file folders stacked on the table. Anna didn't return the formal courtesy. She gripped the pendant under her thin sweater, its cool sliver pricking her skin. In her bag lay Richard's black business card, the notebook with her mother's photo and the penciled letters C.O. she'd written last night. The talisman proof alive in her bag tapped lightly against her hip every time she swallowed. They entered a small conference room. One wall was glass showing pale Boston sky. The opposite was smoky brown wood hung with an empty frame nail holes still fresh as a wound. The foreshadow hovered still. Richard's guard stood in the corner, hands clasped behind his back, gaze fixed not on a person, but on the room itself. The lawyer placed the thick folders on the table and clicked the clasp open with a snap. The yellowed papers inside were edged in red stitching like a church registry carefully unbound. He drew out 2 sheets, placing them face down on the table to avoid glare, then slid them toward Anna. An original birth certificate, he said, and a medical birth record. Anna's finger hovered over the papers for a moment. Courage doesn't erase fear. It teaches the hand to touch at the right moment. She flipped the top sheet, a yellow glow blooming like pale sunlight. The birth certificate read, Mother Lillian H. Cole Lilly. Father Richard H. Cole. Handwritten in forward-leaning cursive brown ink, a stamp of a teardrop seal pressed into the page. In the corner, the registrar's name, H. Weaver. That name pricked Anna's memory, the same Weaver from the disputed clause she saw just last night. Foreshadow wove its threads again, the registrar and the clause both Weaver. The medical record bore the seal of a private hospital. The attending physician, A. Price, M.D. The surname Price glowed like a spotlight in the memory in yesterday's photo of the gala. Marcus stood next to a salt and pepper-haired man identified as Alan Price, medical advisor to the Cole Foundation. A single invisible thread dropped to Anna's chest. "Why have I never seen these before?" she asked. "They were sealed," the lawyer replied, calm, like iced lemonade. "By court order after that family litigation back then." "What lawsuit?" "Over the family trust control of assets, guardianship, gag orders." "Who requested it?" He raised his eyes. "Marcus." The name hit the table dry, sharp. Only the air conditioning whispered through the vents, and an elevator's distant hum answered. The guard remained still, but the strain in his jaw and the line of his collarbone spoke of a significant moment. Anna acted natural as her hand shook. She pulled her phone and raised the camera. "No photos," the lawyer cut in softly. "I need proof if I walk away. We can scan and encrypt. I trust my eyes more than the machine." A quiet dare. Her camera clicked. A soft snap echoed like a pebble thrown into still water. Risk number 1, clicked lock security policy violation, legal consequences if leveraged. Risk number 2, still told 4 p.m. hospital bill, a debt demanding payment. All set. Richard entered the room, silently stopping behind her. His gaze landed on the teardrop seal, not on Anna. "You may photograph it," he granted permission. The lawyer looked at the host and nodded. "Capture all 4 corners and the seal. Avoid the facility code at the bottom." "Why?" "That's the court key," Richard interjected. "Whoever has that can erase this from the system." "Foreshadow." "That number is a match, a fuse waiting to burn the whole record." Anna swiftly took pictures corner by corner. Close on the teardrop seal, the light traced a fine relief, 3 inner curves weaving like fingerprints. She pulled the pendant from her collar and pressed it onto the seal. The crack aligned with the second curve, uncannily precise. The guard moved forward, kneeling slightly like a silent homage. "It's a family heirloom," he murmured softly as if confessing to himself. "Your grandmother Lily wore it. You recognized it. I stood behind her for years." His words, plain loyalty carved in bone. "Were you there when she vanished?" Anna's voice was level. The guard didn't answer. Richard spoke, eyes never leaving the window. "No one stays long enough to witness it." A crease twitched behind the guard's ear pain or silent regret. The lawyer pulled another folder, thinner, weighty, with signatures. Complete summary of litigation. He pointed to a highlighted line. After an initial hearing, the court removed her name from all public records. "Why erase me?" "For protection," the lawyer answered, emphasis in the air. "Protecting whom?" Silence moved through the room like a living thing. Anna inhaled. Her hand found the cool surface of the table like still water receding into blood warmth. In her mind, the hospital clock ticked. Gerald 5:30 was coming. Marcus somewhere in the tower. The elevator hissed again, this time, familiar, insistent. I remained skeptical. Richard nodded, almost pleased. "Good. Doubt is your armor. I intend to verify. What do you need? Call the hospital. Match the record number. Scan QR from the seal. Compare Registrar H. Weaver's signature with the clause from last night." The lawyer's lip twitched into half a smile. "You're quite forensically inclined." "I'm a cashier," Anna replied, voice steady, eyes fixed on the papers. "I've scanned codes my entire life." Richard gestured to the encrypted office phone. Records department. I'll call. Anna rose to block it. Use speaker, the guard said, voice deeper now. Let us hear as well. Click. A dial tone. Then, records. A woman's voice arrived cautious. I'm verifying Anna spoke clearly. Birth file for Lillian H. Cole that year. Seal code 39B teardrop with 3 ridges. Silence brief brittle. Keys clicked. It's sealed. The voice lowered. We need court or guardian authorization. This is Richard Cole. Richard positioned near the receiver. I authorize release. Please hold. Hold music spilled into the room like cold water into porcelain. Anna stared at the faded seal, felt it breathe. Confirmed match. The woman returned. Father Richard H. Cole, Mother Lillian H. Cole. Seal order by H. Weaver. Is there an A? Price, Anna prodded. Yes, Alan Price, attending pediatrician. Thank you. She hung up. Her hand was suddenly wet with sweat. At that moment, the distant elevator opened. A man with silver hair stepped in the building's longtime chief of security. Not the younger guard, but the keeper of keys. Anna had seen him beside Richard in the lobby. They asked for me. His gaze fell on Anna's pendant. Then he leaned immovable. Mr. Anthony served, the lawyer began. Ms. Lilly. Anthony's voice was hoarse yet clear. I stood behind her at every recital. He gestured beyond to where the piano stood. She laid the pendant on the A above middle C before performing. Anna raised her pendant. Anthony extended a hand, hesitated, then withdrew a small gesture of reverence. That crack, he explained, came from a fall on the Warwick recital hall steps. Driving rain. I reached too late. A detail only someone who had been there could know. An echo of that rainy night returned, elevator hum, Kane's tap-slipping scarf. Anna felt a sting behind her eyes. So you knew me, Richard asked gently. Anthony looked at Anna squarely. I knew the scent, he said, subtly smiling like a delayed arrival catching a missed train. She wore camellia. I smell it now. Anna touched her coat. That morning she'd mistakenly sprayed a single drop of her mother's perfume before leaving the only remnant she carried. The room softened just slightly. Authority can be kind when proof is near, but doubt lingered like a black cat, not fated to be comforted. Anna opened her notebook, pulling out her mother's photo, 3 fragments picture birth certificate pendant. She placed her finger on H. Weaver and looked at the lawyer. That name appears on both the clause document last night and this birth record. The lawyer paused. Yes. Did he transfer from court to the foundation? He straddled both. Foreshadow sprouted a bridge, public and private power intersecting. The leadership dispute clause wasn't a wall, it was a gateway. And the key, well, someone had it. When my mother vanished, Anna whispered, "Who sealed it?" The lawyer turned a page, revealing a final signature, small, calculated. M. Cole. Marcus. In that silence, a whisper of nails screwing into glass beyond the balcony clicked in. Power spoke not through words, but signatures on paper. Anna steadied herself. I want a DNA test. At a public hospital, no foundation oversight. Richard didn't blink. Granted. My appointment is at 4. I'll accompany you. Don't come in. The faintest crease in Richard's brow dropped, then smoothed away. Anthony will wait outside. Anthony nodded, hand over chest, a pledge from a man of old loyalty. Risk number 1 still lingered. Stepping into a public hospital under Cole credentials risked media attention. Risk number 2 waited. Gerald would fire her at 5:30 for failing her shift. His message had just buzzed. If absent, your contract ends. She looked at Richard. I'll bear the cost of this choice. We will too. I don't want you paying for me. I'm not paying for you. I'm paying with you. A final mic drop moment as the lawyer gathered documents to scan a small slip of paper fell from the folder. A hospital admission slip copied, reversed with faint pencil on the back, stairwell C2214. The lawyer froze, voice rigid. What's that? Anna snatched it. Internal note. He stuttered. Anthony had seen. His jaw clenched. Stairwell C was the service stairs. He stated. 22:14 was the time. The night she was gone. Richard whispered. Foreshadow deepened a service stairwell exit at 10:14 p.m. A hidden door swung open. A whisper left in paper what lips could not. The lawyer retrieved the note, placing it beneath the file for later. That did not extinguish the spark. It merely reserved the blaze for another room. Anna gathered the photo pendant and printed image. She stood carrying the canvas tote. She felt small in the hush, but sharp and honed to a point, not to thrust outward, but to pry open what was sealed. She glanced at the embossed seal one last time, then at the empty frame on the wall. And then she said quietly but firmly, words that hung like a verdict in the air. The real seal. Where is the real person? Midday in Boston lay exposed in two smells on one street. To one side, the bakery exuded stale cooking oil and powdered sugar. Across the lobby of Cole Tower exhaled warm cedar and glossy espresso. Anna sat close to the window of the bakery on a rickety plastic chair beneath flickering mint neon. Across the street, men in dark suits paced stone corridors like metronomes. Anna rested her fraying canvas tote on her lap, thumb grazing the notebook edge where her mother's photo was taped, and Richard's black business card embossed with a teardrop leaned precariously on the edge like a thin blade. The talisman against her hip reminded her with every heartbeat. Her phone buzzed. 7:29 a.m. War Room, 31st floor. A blur of frosted metal opened noiselessly, revealing a long, narrow chamber, a walnut-paneled library bathed in warm, downlighting, low-ceiling, compressing sound. Frosted windows screened views. A black document scanner rested like a dormant creature below a shelf, and a fresh, empty frame adorned the wall. The foreshadow hung silent. Anthony Richards' guard quietly closed the door and locked it with a soft click. The lawyer drew drawn curtains. No elevator sounds remained, just the soft breathing of paper. Richard leaned against the edge of a table, rolled up sleeve beside a small titanium box, engraved with a teardrop. An email just leaked, he said, pushing it toward Anna. From? She asked. Someone in the house tired of being a ghost, he replied. Anthony secured the door. The lawyer reinforced soundproofing. Silence swallowed them. Richard inserted the USB drive into a stealthy black workstation. The 8K display glowed with a solitary folder, M. Cole, Action. A red cursor blinked. Anna swallowed. Her palms, slick with sweat fingertips, brushed the pendant to steady her pulse. Read, don't fear, she told herself. Email 1 from Marcus.Cole @ to hweaver @ aprice @ kdelaney @ ccpr.office @ subject seal order LHC. Maintain the LHC records sealed. Flag them as sensitive. All retrieval requests must bear MC or court authorization. Strip Cole from public-facing records. Use maiden name in all external references. Leave no internal traces. Anna reread it. Each word was a cold brick. LHC Lillian H. Cole, rewriting the surname, turning Lily into someone else. A timestamp marred the subject. 32. The same night as Stairwell, C2214. Foreshadow slit through time. Email 2 from kdelaney @ to Marcus.Cole @ subject relanguage for press if needed. Suggest press release language. No additional children in the records. Emphasize respect for privacy. Avoid mention of Lily. Shift terminology from family to founder. Limit local media exposure. Email 3 from aprice @ to Marcus.Cole @ hweaver @ subject amendment pushed. Mother's surname updated from Cole to Hale in external interfaces. Retained as Cole in sealed archives. Admin override logged. Delete logs after 72 hours. The lawyer pulled up system logs. User admin MC. Time 22:18. Action override. Foreshadow struck again, who was at Stairwell C at 22:14 and who scheduled the override at 22:18. The two moments clicked in her mind. MC, Anna said quietly. Marcus Cole, the lawyer, confirmed, tone flat. Anthony shifted slightly, name recognition etched on his face. Email 4. From Marcus.Cole @ to legal.team @ board chair @ subject dispute scenario and clause 7B. In leadership disputes trigger clause 7B. Transfer management of core assets to the CEO for 90 days. Avoid the term remove. Use preserve value instead. These words carved reality previously unseen. Core assets meant more than money. It meant lives tied to control. Richard flicked to email 5 from Marcus to H. Weaver. Subject re-registrar sign-off. Exclude LHC from all public records. Cite personal safety for queries. Weaver, please affix the seal. The M. Cole footer calculated elegant cut like a blade. Anna gripped the edge of the table, blood drummed at her temples. She needed a physical copy of this. I'll send it to my email, she said. You're creating your own chain of evidence. The lawyer raised a brow. I don't trust your servers. Anna shot back. Richard paused, then said, send me the code link. He motioned to the lawyer set up her vault. We're violating internal policy, the lawyer said quietly. We're saving someone from vanishing, Richard countered calmly. Anna then used her phone to deposit a link into her personal email using the pendant's encrypted code under a UV lamp on the desk. The soft ping sounded like a pin anchoring her to safety. At once, her phone buzzed again, cease and desist, Cole Holdings Counsel. The subject was ice cold. Cease accessing internal documents illegally. Legal threats followed. They're fast, Anna muttered. They've been waiting, Anthony replied, eyes fixed on the door. Waiting for you to raise your head. Another buzz, 4 p.m. hospital bill. 2 hours remaining. And Gerald 5:30 p.m. shift check. 2 nooses tightening. Richard opened an email with an attached image Marcus in a meeting room, impeccably dressed lapel, adorned with that teardrop gleaming. His smile did not reach his eyes. Chiseled hands clasped in front of him. A logo made reality. Media faced the lawyer, half-joked. Internal beast. Richard retorted, finger-tracing Marcus's hands. Keep the dirty work off those fingers by bringing someone else. Anna glared at the override log 2218, or pressing it yourself remotely. Email 6, from Marcus, to PR office. Subject narrative options, if rumor surfaces. If a lost child rumor arises, frame it as an exploitation attempt. Emphasize privacy position. Lily's story as personal, not familial. Suggest DNA testing in our facility if needed. And in our facility, she thought. They're selling truth like a service. The war room door rattled softly. Kara popped in. Marcus is on his way up. Richard did not shift. Tell him we'll use a dummy report, the lawyer said. Which one, Anna asked. One that doesn't mention you. A micro twist. Kara dropped a thin envelope with a faint anchor stamp on the corner. New label from PR. She nodded to the empty frame. An anchor, another player. Another alliance. Foreshadow bloomed not just Marcus, but a network. Richard opened the envelope inside a draft press release. Cole Holdings denies false rumors. The words were pre-framed, printed and waiting. Do you see the tracks? They laid the track before any train ran. We're the blockade. Anna circled to the screen, keying her mother's picture across the M. Cole label. Lily's smiling face pushed against the email that would rewrite it. She set the pendant between the USB and desk. The silver drop and titanium drop kissed. The talismans aligned with a soft chime. I'm going to meet him, she said firmly. No, Richard interrupted. I want to hear his lies in person. At what cost, the lawyer queried. I may lose hospital care by 4. I may lose this job at 5:30. I may lose safety. And your family. Anthony asked, quiet but firm. Anna looked at the screen again. If there's a lost child, frame her as exploitative. Then she exhaled the final truths. I won't let them call my mother sensitive. Richard changed gears. We'll meet after the DNA result. Before. That's unreasonable. They'll destroy the DNA if they know. He looked at her a moment's vulnerability. You're insane. Expensive words. Anna replied coolly. Everything is expensive today. Kara re-entered the war room, door clicked. Marcus wants the meeting room. Perfect. This was now a trap set with bricks. They exited through the side door into a quieter corridor, steps echoing under warm lights. Anna glimpsed Marcus in the reflective glass, perfectly poised lapel, glinting word about to be spoken. In the service elevator B, Anna pressed back the pendant, heavy in her palm. She flicked on her selfie cam, framed in the rose gold letterbox. Tired eyes, determined jaw, the crack in silver. Not framed by them. The hospital entrance re-emerged, mustard yellow taxis, sleek sedans, neon signs fluttering over public hospital's glowing facade. Anna's coat zipped tighter pendant warmed to her body not just an object, but the rhythm of her courage. At an intersection, a black SUV appeared, no plates. Anthony checked the mirror. They followed. Marcus, or someone like him. Take another road. No, lead them into the crowd. Anthony steered into a crowded bus lane to expose tailing vehicles. Foreshadow ran parallel, a shadow that wouldn't vanish. Hospital 4 p.m. Her dashboard clock read 3:18. Gerald 5:30. Anna closed her eyes. No turning back. She opened them. Straight ahead. Inside her head, Marcus's unblinking expression from the email haunted her cold, smile-hurried eyes. She bit down for strength. Lips cracked metallic taste. She breathed a single declaration quietly sealed in her chest. They wanted me gone. I chose to show up. The supermarket's sliding doors opened and closed like a weary mouth exhaling the smell of cheap plastic and morning shift sweat. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving smeared neon streaks across puddles. Above, a high-rise ad showed a warm wooden hotel living room, crystal glasses by a fireplace that struck Anna's gaze like a memory she didn't own. She pulled her hood lower and felt the silver pendant rest quietly beneath her sweater, its crack pressing gently against her sternum, her talisman reminding her with every breath. "You're 3 hours late!" Gerald waited at the service counter, lips thin tie skewed half a centimeter, trying to look straight. "I had a hospital appointment. Personnel office right now." The HR hallway's fluorescent lights flickered. The gray carpet, worn smooth by trolleys, groaned under her shoes. On the desk lay a cream-colored envelope, dead and still. Above, a dome camera panned in slow loops. The red light blinked. Gerald pushed the envelope toward Anna. His finger was as dry as paper. "This is your termination notice, effective immediately." "For what?" "Embezzlement from the petty cash fund." His words dropped like a chunk of ice. Gerald clicked the mouse and a clip appeared. Camera 7 showed Anna counting bills. She slid a stack of 20s into the drawer. Then 15 seconds later, something appeared in her breast pocket. The POS machine beeped off rhythm. The timestamp jumped from 10:41:12 to 10:41:27. "Replay it," Anna demanded. He rewound. Anna squinted. In the lower corner near the timestamp flickered a faint logo-like shape, a crude anchor. She'd seen that faint anchor before on the PR envelope on the 31st floor. "This has been doctored," she said. "Who doctored it?" Gerald snapped. "Not me." "Sign here," he pointed at the termination form. "Admit the violation and pledge reimbursement." "I won't sign." She stood firm. "Then we'll call the police." Anna pulled out her notebook, a personal ledger of receipts and timestamps. "This is my private log, matches the POS system." "Irrelevant. Show me the cash drawer log." "You have no access rights." The door hissed. A security guard entered, radio crackling at his belt. "Miss Anna, I'm right here. You need to come with me. I'm calling the police." "We already have." Risk 1 flashed, criminal accusations unleashed. Anna swallowed eyes on the anchor symbol in the clip. K. Delaney, the PR name from her memory. She saw a thread wrapped from the tower's basement to HR department, thin but unbreakable. Her phone buzzed. "Hospital treatment suspended. Please pay outstanding balance." Red letters burned on screen. Risk 2, blared mother. She dialed. "Finance office. My mother is hospitalized. We're pending grant confirmation. The coal fund has been suspended, sorry." "Who suspended?" "Someone named Delaney." Anchor again, not just a symbol. Another buzz, Ethan's school out due to unpaid fees. Suspension pending. Her brother. "I need 10 minutes, she said, pushing her chair back. "You may not leave." The guard blocked forward. She glanced at the ceiling camera, the anchor in the clip. Exhaled once, silent command, "Run." Her shoes thudded across the worn carpet past storage rooms, smelling of paper boards through a back door painted in peeling layers. The guard's voice echoed behind her as alarms piped like ticking clocks. "Move. Don't let them lock you in." Outside misting rain, she hailed a taxi. Boston General Hospital. Which side? The public wing. The cab splashed through puddles, shaking the pendant against her chest. She dialed Ethan. "Sis, are they sending you home? They said tuition's due by next week or I can't return." "Go home, lock the doors." "But Mom, I am heading to the hospital." Boston General Lobby was two worlds split by a corridor on the left private wing with warm wood leather chairs, framed canvases. On the right public wing with plastic seats, metal chairs, antiseptic smell. She crossed to the right, reached into her pocket, and the pendant slipped from beneath her collar, neon white smear, a thin slash of silver. "My mother is Anna Parker." She placed her patient card on the counter, voice husky. The financial clerk tapped keys. Her nails painted milky beige, tapped back. "Account is on hold. Sponsorship suspended. Balance. I'll pay in installments. Don't stop her treatment. I'm not authorized." "Let me speak to someone who is. The fund has authorization." "Which fund?" "Anchor Health Trust." The anchor clicked into place everywhere before her PR clip fund's identity. "I need to see the physician. He's in surgery. I'll sign a waiver." "We don't accept waivers." Footsteps rattled elevator wheels, echoed a beep from a heart monitor, sounded like an animal's snore. She leaned on the glass counter, her forehead rubbed cold. "Don't cry, crying dehydrates." Phone rang again. PR Cole Holdings. "Cease distributing confidential documents or face legal consequences." "What consequences?" she said. "We won't comment." Her face paled. The narrative had framed her opportunist. They had written it first, then she read it. She walked straight to her mother's room tile, cold beneath her soul's overhead lights. Sharp, no shadows. The curtain was half closed. The drip paused. LEDs were off. Why did it stop? The nurse looked up, weary eyes. "Awaiting billing confirmation." "This is confirmation." Anna lifted her phone, showing the birth certificate, its teardrop seal, vivid in the light. "We still need payment. Correct procedure, wrong heart." She held her mother's frail hand and placed the pendant, her lifeline, in her palm. "I'm stepping out now," she said, turning. "Don't blow. Save it." On the concrete stairs, down heels echoed. Phone buzzed, a photo of Ethan at the principal's office. Red eyes. Message. "That girl's a liar, stay away." Anonymous. The smell of trash and sewage wafted. Over there, private clinic doors opened, golden interior patient families smiling. Blissful ignorance. Anna made a decision. "Ethan, go home, lock the door, don't open it to anyone." "Okay, wait for me. Stay off the internet." "I will." She dialed Richard. Voicemail. Kara in a meeting. Anthony ignored. Moments ago, they stood 2 steps away. Now gone. She looked at the black business card in her hand and scanned under the bathroom's UV light. The teardrop glowed like a jewel. Stark, suspicious. "What game are you playing?" she whispered to empty air. Phone buzzed again. "Gerald, police are here. You didn't show. Hospital 5 p.m. deadline. No show and discharge proceeds. Principal, if no parent meeting next week, expulsion follows." A cascade of anchors tightening the noose. She ran home, creaking wooden staircase, cheap-smelling hallway. She locked the door. Ethan's red eyes met hers. "They said I scammed you," he whispered. "Don't listen." Their mother lay hushed, drips flowing slow, bedside lamp yellow. Anna placed her artifacts notebook photo pendant on the bedside table. She snapped the business card. The crack at the teardrop split wide like a broken eye. In the dim moment, she saw faint text scrawled on Gerald's termination envelope. "Press asset anchor, signed, MC." Foreshadow thundered, "Anchor Delaney, MC." But the name forming in her mind was another Richard. His silence when she called him. The misunderstanding sharp and circular. She leaned back against the wall, eyes closed. If this was his trap to make her beg, he chose the wrong woman. A bead of cold sweat trickled down her nape. Outside, the neon sign blinked. The elevator groaned up the shaft. Anna opened her eyes, wrapped the pendant and booklet to her chest. Her lips curved, trembling. "They can't buy my blood." Across the street, atop a glass tower, a high-end hotel ad flickered into life. A cozy sitting room with walnut floors and a glowing gas fireplace. Amber light dancing across plush furniture. An image that struck Anna's heart like a memory she never had. In contrast, Anna's rented kitchen offered only a weak yellow incandescent bulb, bare wiring drooping across a water-stained ceiling. On the neighbor's TV, a news clip of the gala played live from Cole Tower, the brisk violin strains impossible to ignore. In her kitchen, the water heater clicked tack, then died. The refrigerator hissed like a knife gliding over crystal. Anna slid her plastic medicine tray aside, then pulled a battered tin box from under the bed. its lid bent and peeling, patched with dim silver cloth tape with a hand-lettered label in marker, letters Lily. This was her mother's old mailbox, the talisman of countless glances yet never fully opened. She sat on the cracked linoleum floor and placed her silver pendant atop the tin to steady her shaking hands. The crack in the pendant caught the light a cold silver streak. In her mind, 3 words throbbed stairwell, C2214. A service door. A midnight hour. Find what connects to that, she told herself. Creak. The tin lid lifted, revealing the scent of camphor and damp paper. On top was an antique yellowed lace doily. Beneath that, a butter-soft leather notebook bound in pale blue ribbon, and beside it a thick legal envelope embossed Delaney and Weaver LLP with a faint anchor stamp in the corner. The anchor, her system of symbols, now on something older than she was. A paper echo of the digital foreshadow from floor 31. She dried her hands roughly on her shirt, pulled a chair up and opened the leather journal to the first page, her mother's handwriting. If you are reading this book, it means they have won. But don't believe the stories they tell about me. The sepia ink had bled in places like dried tears. "Mom," Anna whispered throat tight. Leafing through, she found fragmented notes, concert memories, the Cole living room piano, the scent of camellia, her mother favored, and a mention of stairwell C at the hospital where no one notices. One dog-eared page listed a date followed by a sliced-off sentence, 2214. Someone from Grandma's side. The strokes pressed hard into the paper, a hand trembling to resist. Anna turned to the legal envelope. The wax seal was cracked, though the red stitching remained intact. The first document was a marriage certificate, Richard H. Cole and Lillian H. Hale Cole, bearing the pressed teardrop seal. She set her pendant against that seal, its internal pattern meshed with the pendant's crack, as if they'd known each other forever. Next was a mutual non-disclosure and separation agreement. On the bottom right, fine signature, M. Cole. Below, in sharper ink, another Margaret Cole, her grandmother. In the heirship clarity clause lay the venom to preserve transparency of inheritance. Any descendants from the L.H. Cole line born outside the present seat of power shall be considered unrecorded in any public registry except by special resolution of the executive chairman. In the margin, her mother had penciled a note, "Not betrayal, for the chair, because of Marcus." Marcus's name underlined twice. Risk 1 slithered in like a black cat. If Anna made these documents public, the NDA threatened full civil and criminal liability. Risk 2 still throbbed. The hospital would cancel her mother's next treatment at 5 p.m. The clock on the wall ticked with urgency. She rooted through the tin and found an old micro-cassette tape labeled, "Rowan Lilly Do Not Trust." Below it, a dusty black tape recorder with old corroded mechanisms. She pulled 2 AA batteries from a drawer, wiped them on her shirt, and inserted them. The tiny red record light blinked weakly. She placed the recorder on the desk and pressed play. The hiss bloomed like a storm on the radio. "Lily." A thick, aged voice rasped, broken by years of cigars. "Rowan here. I'm recording because they've put bugs on the line." "Mr. Rowan?" Her mother answered, youthful in her voice and trembling slightly. "Listen, they are erasing your child from existence on paper. Margaret wants Marcus's record pristine even if Richard resists. Weaver will affix the seal. Delaney will script the narrative. Price will insert the medical record. I can offer one exit, only one." "Which exit?" she asked. "A secret clause I'll slip in. If any heir produces the original documents and this recording to the Inheritance Committee, the NDA is void. But it must be submitted right before the Friday vote. Then 7B can be pulled. They fear scandal. They say my child must vanish." Her mother's voice broke each word. "That's their legal maneuver," Rowan rasped. A pause full of static. "Your child must vanish so Marcus inherits lawfully. I record this so if I die, the truth lives." A faint click. Rowan may have flipped the tape. Behind distant footsteps, sharp heel taps, then a third low voice. Anthony perhaps saying, "Stairwell C. Hurry." Foreshadow matched her journal's entry. Another female voice, cold as steel. That air does not exist. Was that grandmother's voice? The tape fizzled, then stopped. Silence reigned. Only the clock and her mother's breath stayed in the room. Anna placed the tape aside, eyes sliding between the legal envelope bearing the grandmother's signature and the NDA. Every node connected Weaver stamping birth, Delaney crafting narrative, Price entering the medical record, and Marcus pulling strings burying one sole heir. Knock, knock, knock. 3 steady beats on the door. Anna sprang up, shoved the tape into her jacket, slid documents into a folder, clamped the leather journal into her coat. Who is it? Boston Police. Calm male voice without excess. What's this about? We need to speak with you. Risk 1 was now knocking at her door. She looked at her mom and at Ethan, eyes wide, confused. She swallowed hard. She must protect them. Take Mom inside, lock the door. But do it now. She unlatched the door slightly. 2 officers stood in the hallway under cold yellow lights, their shadows long as knives. You're Anna Parker. Yes. You need to come with us. I will cooperate, but I need to call my lawyer first. Do you have one? Yes. She lied. Her chest suddenly felt hollow. Rowan was dead. Who shows up for her? She held up her phone, opened her recording app, hit record. Everything is being recorded for my safety. The taller officer paused and nodded. You have that right. I have my mother's medical record here too. That's not allowed. I place it on the table, on camera. Backing away, she set the folder in front of the station's camera, opened it on the page with the teardrop seal, pointed at Margaret's signature, then closed it. Before leaving, she slipped the microcassette into the pendant's back into a little hidden slot she'd never noticed. Her mother's talisman transformed into a miniature safe. The pendant was no longer just a keepsake. On the stairwell, officers' steps echoed the metallic tang and gun oil in the air. Down below, through the window, the warm wooden ad flickered. Outside, the black SUV stood crossways, headlights cold. Anthony sent a message nearby. Stay silent. Richard texted via Kara Board meets early tonight. Hold all records. Risk 2 hit her ribs 5 p.m. in 15 minutes. The precinct hallway stretched. Faded yellow walls, dim lights. Outside, the sky was a slate blue. The SUV engine hummed. Anthony exited with a fine envelope and the same titanium USB with anchor stamp his from the war room. Behind him, a middle-aged woman with a public defender badge resolved herself to the case. I'm your temporary counsel, Anthony said flatly, almost strangled. Who are you? Security officer. For whom? For the truth. His answer was flat, unwavering. The public defender spoke, I request original footage and may counsel my client. The officers exchanged glances and nodded. Anthony slid the USB across the desk, showing system logs, admin override timestamped at 22:18, header tagged with the anchor symbol. At the end was photo evidence Kay Delaney seen checking in at the store during the disputed window. A clean crease revealing deceit. Where was this acquired? From those who manipulated the files. Anthony's voice did not waver. Anna borrowed a phone. Hold the hospital spot open for my mother just 1 more hour. Ma'am, here's my warranty. The evidence is forthcoming. She nodded to Anthony. He returned the nod. Risk 2 propelled her again. She opened the live stream app, began an encrypted feed for just 3 viewers. Anthony, the public defender, and the officer in charge. She removed the tape from the pendant, placed it into the recorder, and swung the mic toward herself. This is Rowan, my mother's lawyer. He said aloud what they'd like hidden. Play. Rowan's voice shattered the hush. Your child has to vanish so Marcus inherits. The defender's eyes snapped open. The officers shifted. No one blinked when the feminine voice echoed, that heir does not exist, enough to rewrite the record. I submit this tape as evidence. Her voice cold and precise. What else, the public defender asked. My mother's journal, the marriage papers signed by Margaret, the NDA, and M. Cole's email commands. What do you intend the Inheritance Committee meets tonight at 10? I'm going there. You're not invited. Their papers include me. She typed into the notebook, production of original docs, and this tape voids NDA. Micro twist. The public defender pulled out a precedential copy in Re Caldwell Trust, where courts struck down an NDA as coercive in estate matters. If this tape is authentic and the originals exist, we have a case. Risk 1 hadn't vanished. Her phone buzzed with a new Delaney and Weaver email, cease broadcast or face injunction. Risk 2 loomed, hospital 54 minutes remain. The clock on the wall stood rigid like a guitar string. Anna rose. I'm heading to the committee. Who's with me? Anthony pressed a hand to his chest. I am. The public defender nodded firmly. I'll deliver the tape to the district. Meet you there. The plainclothes officer looked at Marcus's photo, then at Anna. You may go, but you're not leaving the state. I'm not leaving. I'm going to the tower. The hallway stretched behind her longer than when she'd arrived. Yellow lights flickered, shadows followed. Outside, dusk settled. The SUV idled. Anna secured her folder and pendant to her chest, its compartment sealed, now warm from the tape inside. She pressed a fragment of tape onto the teardrop seal using her nail UV imprint left behind a temporary testament. The car rolled onto the avenues leading to Cole Tower. Billboards for the gala lined the street's gold cream velvet brightness. In her reflection on the window, she saw exhaustion and resolve sharpened. Rowan's phrase played in her mind like a knot unloosing. The memory elevator hum echoed, merging with the SUV's quiet engine. Anthony veered into a bus priority lane. They'll lock the committee entrance. Then I'll broadcast from the lobby. They'll kill the mic. Then I'll speak in writing. He looked at her in the rearview mirror. In his eyes, a faint smile, tense but hopeful. The SUV turned onto the approach road leading up a hill to the committee building, pale limestone Doric columns, wide steps. At its foot, media had already gathered black mics, LED arrays, cameras ready. And among them, Marcus polished in power lapels, shining with that teardrop briefcase demeanor. A perfect image of status, ready to rewrite it all. Anna opened the car door and placed her foot upon the stone. A rush of wind lifted fallen leaves. She hugged her folder and tape-tight pendant in hand for heartbeats. She didn't look at Marcus or the lights. She gazed only at the steps, cold gray keys that led to the truth she carried. The words escaped her low and firm, nailing into the pavement. They buried me in papers. Tonight I'll unearth them. Morning in Boston painted two distinct hues on the same slope. To the right, a limestone church with its back door open poured the warm scent of soup into the chilly air. White steam rising like breath. To the left, Cole Tower cast a shadow atop marble and glass, the lobby's walnut wood glowing rich and old like vintage wine. On the cold stone steps, the destitute tapped plastic bowls with spoons while in a private elevator, music piano spilled quietly. The ride humming like a secret locking shut. Anna walked between these two worlds. Her rain-damp coat clung to her folder held tight to her chest, the silver pendant visible above her collar, her talisman now revealed unhidden. Each time her fingers brushed it, its little groove once hiding the tape reminded her it's opened and it won't close again. The door to the 38th floor conference room parted softly. The hinges were silent. Golden light pooled across a long table, glossy like a still pond. Leather chairs were arranged ceremoniously, the aroma of tanned leather blended with bitter orange from the diffuser. Richard stood at the head of the table, dressed in charcoal gray, eyes heavy from a sleepless night, hand pressed onto a dossier as thick as a brick. Marcus was not present. The chair behind him bore no anchor emblem, the backrest removed, leaving exposed screw holes like surgical scars. The gag clause has been invalidated by the committee. The public defender set the record down and tapped a pen once. And Marcus Cole has been suspended. Another voice representing the Attorney General's office added crisply, "A criminal investigation has been commissioned." The whispers ceased. Richard turned to Anna, not elevated above her, not on a dais. His voice lowered. "You're owed an explanation. I need action." Anna replied, voice rough but unwavering. He nodded and slid a thinner file toward her, a lighter folder embossed with a faint teardrop seal, Cole Foundation Access and Mission Amendment. A teardrop-shaped slot at the center of the cover fit her pendant exactly. "The key to the new fund, Workers and Children Foundation," Richard explained. "Not one-way control." She pressed the pendant into the slot. Click. A latch released a set of indicator lights on the side, pulsed white. It requires community oversight. Agreed. The public defender pushed forward the oversight bylaws, a board including reps from the public hospital, the union, and the church. Her final act of courage wasn't a shout, it was signing in the right place. Anna pulled a chair near the edge of the table instead of the leather seat, standing as she leafed through the bylaws. Article 13, no personalization. The fund cannot be used to buy silence. Agreed. Article 15, split anchor. Health from the fund chain launch a separate contract. A micro twist flickered in her mind. The accountant discreetly slipped out a mini report with Anchor's logo, switched to Haven, same font, a stylized anchor. They changed the name. Anna frowned. Sever it entirely. Richard answered simply. Renaming doesn't absolve. Risk 1 blared again. Her phone buzzed. Temporary media injunction requested. Delaney and Weaver seeking emergency court order. The public defender seized it, offering a short smile. Already denied. She held up the Caldwell precedent. Risk 2 pounded hospital mother's afternoon infusion scheduled. Supplemental payment required now. Anna looked up sharply. I've taken care of it. Richard spoke before she could. All medical bills and Ethan's tuition are covered until graduation, public Anna said. So others know they can demand help. Public, he nodded. In the new bylaws. A pen glided across paper like rain. Anna signed steady strokes. She signed for herself, not them, and set the pen down. They moved into a small press room. Spotlight turned on. Microphones sprouted like black mushrooms. The PR host backed away as Anna stepped forward. Her pendant caught the light, glowing a single point at her throat. She didn't need paper. I'm Anna Parker, she began, clear and calm. I was labeled an opportunist. The room held its breath. Truth comes on paper. Their paper. She lifted the binder. It clicked open on the LED screen behind her, displaying the teardrop seal Margaret's signature and the tape transcript. Your child must disappear. I won't disappear. No mother like mine should ever vanish. A reporter pressed. What did you receive from the Coles? 2 things. Anna counted on her fingers. 1, my mother's hospital payments and my brother's tuition paid under my name. 2, access for others under community oversight. Another journalist probed, will you join the board? I'll join the workforce office. She tried a tired smile. The fund's admin office, level 12. It's where phones ring all day. Richard stood behind her, a presence not looming. He cleaned his throat and said simply, instead of meetings to keep seats, we'll meet to keep people. The balcony door opened wide. The autumn wind played with the mic stand. Anna stepped outside just as the sun peeked from behind a cloud. The city lay spread beneath a tapestry of silvery rooftops and red tiles, service pipes slicing across facades, distant skyscrapers flashing gold. Below Cole Tower's lobby carried barefoot imprints, both wrought and broken on shiny marble, the watermarks coasting off like white dust. Her talisman grew warm. Anna removed it and ran her thumb along its old groove engraved LH. Her mother's mark now warmed by dawn. She replaced it against her chest in sync with her heartbeat. Are you starting work? Kara's voice came quietly. She looked less guarded than before. I am. Fund office on 12, not 38. Kara offered. Wherever the phone answers. Kara smiled. And where the printer never cools. Anna rode the staff elevator down fluorescent buzz ventilation hum, the scent of printer ink. At the ground level, fund office desks crammed close, and a city map dotted with red pins marking shelters, kitchens, legal aid centers. The phone rang as she walked in. Workers and Children Fund. Anna speaking. A hesitant female voice. My husband. Unfair contract about to be let go. Kids behind on fees. Hold on. Anna typed swiftly and pulled a form. I'm bringing this to you this afternoon. She hung up and turned to a gray-haired man from the public hospital and a Haitian woman who ran the soup kitchen. We're shifting priorities. If the file says Haven, pause until it's verified. Haven is Anchor renamed. The man nodded. Good. No one renames to erase responsibility. Just then, a new risk. The door cracked open. A securities commission agent stepped in holding a notice. "We request all originals retained under 48-hour seal." Anna nodded and handed the folder across, then scanned 3 pages into the newly established community archive. No one keeps secrets, that's the law now. Afternoon settled. The tower's shadow glided over the red pinned map, erasing one block, lighting another. Phones buzzed. The printer rumbled. In the corner, someone had donated an old piano. Someone taped a note. Trade for a semester's tuition. Anna pressed a heavy chord, the tone deep and pregnant, not perfect, but hers. She laughed softly alone. "That sound is on your side." At day's end, Richard passed quietly. "How's your mother receiving treatment? I'm sorry for disappearing when you needed me. Don't disappear again." He nodded, touching the pendant on her chest. "That thing, it's lighter now." Anna pressed it, feeling warmth spread. "It's the guide." Richard exhaled, his weight dropped. "I'll testify publicly. No more closed doors." And the position she let it hang. He paused. "Yes, we'll hand over the seat." He turned. Kara leaned in. "Mrs. Margaret. Requested to leave town tonight. She's leaving. Maybe not in time. A soft foreshadow, the snake may shed skin, but not poison." Anna jotted that line into her first official log. Night fell. The level 12 balcony opened. River wind carried salt and leaves. At her feet, city wires glowed faintly. Above, office windows glowed amber. Anna leaned against rail bars, pendant resting between her collarbones. Battles remain, laws need rewriting. Media narratives still sting. But the red pin map bloomed with new roots. She switched her phone camera on, filming the cityscape, zooming into hostels, markets, the church. Those are where the work lives. She texted Ethan Pick a supplemental school tomorrow. "I've got this." Another text to the hospital. "If signer MIA, call me." Then silent phone slipped back. A distant elevator hummed in memory. Wind slipped through her sleeve. Overpasses glided forward, shifted. Anna breathed deep, touching the pendant. Its groove, once a cage, now glowed warm. Her final vow leaked out sharp and bright. "This pendant won't chain me. It's my compass." Night layered 2 opposing colors into one frame below. The alley shimmered with flickering green neon reflected in black puddles. Above, a warm wooden balcony from the tower cast a golden glow like honey. The elevator whirred softly deep within the building's core. From the alley came a sharp clang as a trash lid closed. Anna stood at the edge of the balcony, her silver pendant catching the light, a cold star at her throat. She held it between 2 fingers. The latch on the back clicked open like a vow made again. Don't tremble. Choose truth. In the distance, a walnut hotel suite glimmered behind glass crystal glasses, warm violin. Closer, a corner store beeped barcodes under fluorescent lights. The images of wealth and survival layered like 2 transparent films in perfect alignment, a reminder of where the story began. If you discovered you were the lost child of a billionaire, would you choose money or truth? The narrator's voice floated through the cold air, clean and unforced. Anna placed her pendant atop the stamped folder, a small, defiant act like laying a key on the negotiation table. Risk 1 still lurked. The legal investigation remained open, and temporary injunctions rebranded under Haven could strike any time. Risk 2 never slept. Her mother's treatment schedule stretched on, and tuition bills kept printing from a dot matrix like nails falling in the rain. But the lights on the lower floor still glowed. The phones in the fund office still rang. Will you sign what you believe in or stay silent? Will you share the paper or let paper bury people? A micro twist flickered across the side screen. The old anchor logo faded out, replaced by the New Haven label, same font, same curve. A foreshadow for the next chapter power can always rename itself, but it can't rewrite the truth recorded in ink and voice. Anna fastened the pendant back around her neck, letting it pulse with her heartbeat. She stepped toward the door. The elevator sealed with a thin hiss like a signature stroke. The camera followed from behind, drawing the viewer's gaze over the city's lit map, tiny dots where justice had just flipped the switch. If this story moved you, tap. Like share it with someone who's still searching for the truth. and subscribe to follow the next journeys of justice and emotion. Every share is a window light turning on in the night so someone knows they're not alone. Final shot, the glint on Anna's pendant fades into the city skyline. What would you choose, the money or the truth?